Welcome back to Pewdiepie. I'm Zui and I hope you enjoy today's video. But before we get right into it, I'm obligated to remind you to click either the like or dislike button, commenting something down below, and of course, sharing the video after you finished watching it. If you have any suggestions or ideas for a story, my Discord link is in my link tree that is down in the description, as well as my Patreon and Ko-fi for any donations you may want to send my way. Anyways, let's get right into it. The Fazbear Entertainment Mega Pizzaplex had a storied history in its short lifespan. For one, it had been built atop the ruins of a borderline ancient Fazbear franchise. Officially, it was out of symbolic reasons. But if there were any other secret reasons, that one only the top higher-ups knew. And that information was above most people's pay grades. Ironically, the same fate was bestowed upon the Pizzaplex. 2 years after it was erected, it burned down, just like the buried franchise. Not just that, once again there was a loss of a human life in the inferno. The now former night guard Vanessa. Not to mention, the animatronics were all in a disastrous state. But what pissed off the owner of the Pizzaplex the most was that someone turned on DJ Music Man's bouncer mode, making its warranty null and void. However, his other employees understood his rage. Amir, the owner, hyper-focused on stupid things to lessen the blow of the heavier stuff, like, well, his beloved establishment burning down. The night guard perishing in the flames, and the accusations of kidnappings. They must have done a deal on him. The only thing the owner was happy about was simply the ruins collapsed, burying the accursed franchise under the rubble of the new stuff. Plus, no additional corpses were discovered, not even during the rebuilding process, making him force the local papers to retract their preposterous articles about children being taken in the Pizzaplex. You and your fellow co-workers had read the articles from his forced retraction. Headlines like how the Fazbear Fire proves the video games were fake, and Fazbear Fire, the positives from it. Your personal favorite was, so far only one adult body discovered in burned down Pizzaplex. Were the rumors of lost children wrong? You were the night guard. Well, the new night guard. You had been the second one to Vanessa. You barely talked to her, so you weren't sure if she wasn't nice. But primary day shift guard Brian seemed to find her odd. And for an oddball like Brian to call someone, well, odd, it probably meant that she was very creepy. Be it intentional or not. Since you were her counterpart, you didn't know her as you quite literally never were in the building together. Tonight had been long and bothersome. The halls of the new, rebuilt Pizzaplex still felt familiar and alien. It was this feeling of having someone break into your house just to move everything a few inches from where it originally was. Then again, now that you thought about it, maybe it was mirrored. Didn't Rockstar Row used to be on the left? It didn't. Wait. You were going crazy. You furrowed your brows. The more you pondered this, the more you felt like you had been trapped in a different timeline. You sighed and pointed your flashlight around. So, since the rebuilt Pizzaplex was mirrored, well, you often got lost. Luckily, because of your night guard job, this just made it look like you took your patrol routes very serious on the cameras. So if your boss was to actually check the recordings, he'd probably praise you. You smirked when you realized this. Just remember to look natural, or Just remember to look neutral or smile. You mumble to yourself. Don't make him realize you have no idea where the fuck you are. Of course, you knew you were close to Phaser Blast, as you had just ascended a flight of stairs, and the music of the place was audible, albeit faintly. You took a right, and then a left, only to be met with a construction site. A sign said, "Masersize will soon be back." You furrowed your brows. Wasn't Masersize supposed to be somewhere in the atrium? You sighed and turned around. Still with a confident smirk as you gazed at the camera while huddling past it. Then an idea came to you. The maintenance tunnels were still intact from before the fire. And quickly you jumped at the first sight of an employee's only door, and went into the yawning abyss that was the tunnel skeleton of the pizzaplex. All stuff was marked like it was before. Everything had fallen apart. And since all you wanted was to reach parts and services, this had been very convenient. And in less than 10 minutes you arrived through the damp halls at your destination. Parts and services looked its usual self, which was good. That's why you were here. You needed a nap. And it just so happened that during the rebuilding process, day shift guard Brian had set up an air mattress in the repair workshop. Mostly because the guy stayed here, sometimes for days, to protect the area. Or at least, that's what he claimed. Truthfully, he just wanted to get some sweet overtime hours in during a period where there were no annoying customers. Luckily, the mattress remained, and had become the favorite spot for any lazy employee after all their contractual obligations had been fulfilled. In the case of you, the night guard, those were making sure the daycare attendant is unable to leave the daycare during the 2 AM blackout, when the electricity of the pizzaplex was rerouted to the charging stations to allow all machines to be charged simultaneously, and, most importantly, doing between 3 and 5 patrols throughout the entire building. All that was done, so you were more or less free to check out for the night. Now gingerly you placed your glasses on a nearby workbench, stretched, and then fell onto the mattress. Sure, it was a bit dusty and there were a few oil stains, but you didn't care. Not like this was actually your real bed at home. Come to think of it, with how spotless your own bed was, it might as well be the cleanest place in your apartment. As you dozed off, however, you didn't notice the roll of tinfoil right behind your glasses. And while you were stuck in dreamland, the mischievous foil rolled over on its own, throwing the glasses on the ground. It was shortly after the blackout had ended at 3 AM, when Montgomery Gator left his charging pod. Slowly he walked over to his mirror and began to make poses. Taking on poses was very important for the little guys, as they enabled fun and memorable photos and selfies with them. And he absolutely adored that. However, just as he struck a very JoJo-worthy pose, he noticed something. He wanted to make a smug grin, however, his jaw remained in its neutral position. His eyes narrowed, and the robot leaned forward. Desperately, the animatronic tried to move his mouth, but to no avail. The gator growled angrily, and manually opened his mouth using his hands. It creaked as he heard the noise of grinding metal. Well, at least it wasn't serious. Probably just didn't have optimal grease in his gears. The night guard must be qualified enough for this. Using his hands, he snapped his jaw shut in an attempt to look less threatening. After all, you were so small next to him. Slowly he left his room, while at the same time sending a maintenance notification to your security tablet. Once in parts and services, he also was happily surprised, as you were already present. However, something confused him, and the gator tilted his head. By now you had been awake, and were on all fours, searching for your glasses as they no longer were where you put them. Your butt lifted high, as you crawled on the ground, seemingly looking for something. So focused on your task, you didn't even notice the 7-foot-tall animatronic approach you. His mechanical brain made a quick calculation. Most interactions with customers and employees had dedicated numbers attached to them, and your numbers, due to your friendly demeanor and borderline flirtatious comments, put you especially high in his friendship scaling. And so the robot had found a proper response, well, at least to him, for the current situation. He raised his right hand, and then quickly swiped it down. You shrieked as a loud and almost pleasant smack noise echoed throughout parts and services, the impact having blown through your core as your muscles tensed. With a head as red as a tomato, you looked up to the green and yellow blur that was Monty, who had just smacked your ass in a way that was both painful and exhilarating. Monty, is that you? You cried.
Yes, Night Guard. What are you doing down there?
Heaving, you rubbed your cheeks. It hurt so much. What the hell? The robot tilted his head. Why did you punch me?
Correction. It was a slap.
That somehow made it worse. Meaning, you blushed even harder. You just got spanked by a robot.
You seem to enjoy it. So why the complaining?
Yes, but why? Shaking your head, you tried to calm down.
So, what are you doing down there, Night Guard?
How could he be so nonchalant after hitting you? Slapping you. After a minute of whining and rubbing, you finally could catch your breath. With a grumpy expression, you looked at the blurry animatronic. I lost my glasses. You couldn't help but pout.
I remember losing mine.
The robot went quiet.
Actually, no, I don't. They were just on me, and the next thing I remember, they were gone. And so were my hands and legs and fire.
The robot drifted off, and you furrowed your brows. Could machines suffer from PTSD? He shook his head.
Anyways, when I was repaired, they gave me new ones.
You sighed. Yeah, sure, but that doesn't help me right now. Once again, you rubbed your butt. You still felt it.
I can look for them.
You forced a smile and crawled back up onto the mattress. Well, then go look. It's the least you can do. As the robot went to look around the room, however, you wondered, so, why are you here?
My jaw needs some grease. The friction is too much, and I don't want to break my mouth.
You nodded. Okay. And I'm not a mechanic.
My system reports that the guards are qualified enough to apply grease to my jaw hinges. If you don't want to do it, I can report the issue to management, and they will call Kevin.
You bit your lower lip. As lazy as you were, you really didn't want to start a fight with Amir. Okay, you big baby. I do it when you find my... For a moment you sat there, baffled. Uh-oh. Monty? Did you just...
One second, just let me double check.
The robot bowed down and zoomed in on his feet before slowly lifting his foot. Well...
What color were your glasses?
With quivering lips, you said, black.
My God, I'm so sorry.
You threw yourself on the mattress and screamed curses. Without your glasses, you were practically blind. What the hell should you do now? You were beginning to feel sick. Quickly, the robot approached.
Night Guard, I can explain.
You stepped on my glasses.
I mean, that's pretty accurate. Thank you for not making me explain.
Angrily, you punched in the direction of his green blur. The robot blinked, suppressing the urge to remind you any damage to Fazbear property would be deducted from your pay. But eventually he could no longer resist his programming and spouted corporate nonsense.
I hope you understand that Fazbear Entertainment will not claim any responsibility in this accident, as I did fulfill the task to the best of my abilities, and you should have had the foresight of an incident like this would occur. Furthermore, the reason for you taking your glasses off was clearly an infraction of your contract, as during your work time you spent an unregulated amount of time in parts and services.
Your eyes widened and he slapped both hands on his mouth, embarrassed.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
But you just sobbed in defeat. I know, you're a robot. Damn it. You could not get home like this. You needed another person to help you. Quickly you went through a mental list. Day shift got Brian would show up at around 12 p.m. That would be way too late. Plus, he would not take his first break until 3 p.m. The janitor would be one of the morning prep people, and could potentially pick you up in their car to grab your spare glasses at home. And then you could go buy new ones. The morning prep chef would work here too. After all, they spent only 3 hours per day in the pizza plex. But you barely knew them. In fact, no one really did. So that was out of the question. The janitor was. Monty, can you send a message to the janitor tablet, please? The gator nodded. Monty, you asked, are you listening?
Oh,
He was embarrassed, of course you were too blind to see him nodding.
yeah, I heard you. What message?
Tell them, hey, Night Guard's glasses are broken, they need a ride home, they have no problem waiting until your early morning shift is over, and are very willing to pay gas money. Thank you, XOXO. Monty blinked.
Message received. Sending.
Without warning, he sat down next to you, making the entire mattress shake, and you almost tumbled off of it.
Message successfully delivered. Currently on to be read.
You nodded. Yeah, they're most likely still sleeping. You growled. What a shit night, you grumbled.
I know this is a bad time, but I still need grease for my jaw.
Angrily looked up at him. Sorry. Both of you fell silent for a while. But eventually, you gave in to your basic instincts, or more, your desperate need for pity. So defeated, you crawled up to him, until you landed onto his lap.
Night Guard?
You growled. Least you can do is massage me. He tilted his head.
Sorry, I don't have that function installed. If if you can demonstrate how to massage, I can attempt and mimic the movements.
You thought for a moment about the special massage videos you had on your phone, and you blushed. Maybe some other time. God, at least pet me, you demanded. And immediately his large robot hand began stroking your back.
I don't do this normally, so you better savor it.
Mm-hmm. You hummed.
So, are you going to purr?
You exhaled slowly, considering whether or not to ignore the remark. What?
Things I pet usually start purring. I was curious if you humans do that too.
You yawned. No. Humans don't purr. Today's video had been suggested by Discord user Zabroka. Thank you for your kind suggestion. I hope you enjoyed the video.